Hey, everyone. I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live, welcome back. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, and this is your first Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are tuning into the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe to the page. So welcome again. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the chat where you are tuning in from today. Today, I am in the Tampa Bay area, Florida, where I reside. It is getting really hot. So it's already we're in April already, which is crazy. But yeah, super hot here and very humid, which is not fun. And it's going to be probably a pretty brutal summer per usual with the heat. But nonetheless, it's all good. I do like my sunshine, as many of you know who are not new to Mental Health Moment. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So we talk a lot about mental wellness, different tips that you can do to strive to be better again for you and for the people around you. So on today's Mental Health Moment, and still share where you're tuning in from in the chat today. I am pre-recording this today. For those of you who are new, there's a 99.1% chance that I will be live on Mental Health Moment. But today I actually have a conflict. I'll be speaking on a panel with some pretty amazing high school students. So since I can't be in two places at once and I do not have a clone, I really wish I did sometimes. But since I do not, then I'm pre-recording this just for today. But again, still shout out where you're tuning in from in the chat. It's always kind of cool to see that, and other people, we can see where all of us are tuning in from. But okay, so today, let me get into today's mental health moment. And I again want to remind you that a lot of mental health moment, it's just not an overnight process. So a lot of the tips that I share on here are things for you to try out. Some of the things may work amazing for you. Some of the things take a little bit more time. Some of the things are just not enough. And sometimes you may need to seek the help of a mental health professional, which is all good. If you're at that place, anywhere you're at in your wellness journey is okay. We're all at different places. So, and actually, quickly before I start today's mental health moment, let me go through a couple of quick announcements here with you all. I always do that really quick first. And let's see, let me go through the calendar really quick. Okay, so two quick events coming up here this month, actually, and I've announced it before, but I'll announce it again on today's Mental Health Moment. On Saturday, April 12th, I'll be speaking at the International Nanny Training Day out in Clearwater, Florida. So if you're in the area, be sure to register for that. And then on Thursday, April 17th at 6 p.m., I will be in Tampa at Kaiser University. And I'll be speaking to the Project Management Institution of Tampa Bay about emotional intelligence and resilience. So if you're a leader that needs to learn more about that, transform your leadership, that is definitely an event. I'm super excited about that. And also on the 12th, actually, April 12th, I'll be speaking about mental health and wellness for our youth and for nannies and for caregivers and how we can best support them. So if you're in the area, in the Tampa Bay or Clearwater area on either of those dates, be sure to sign up, and I'd love to see you there. You can always catch the events on drnikishahammond.com/events. So I'll put on there the ones that are open to the public, obviously, the next events that are coming up here. Okay, those are all my announcements. So on today's mental health moment, and thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today's mental health moment, I wanted to share with you, as we talk a lot about mindset shifts. That's one of the things that I've written books about, and one of the things that I get most excited about when we can really think about how do we shift our mindset, because mindset is so valuable. It's so powerful. We underestimate how important it is for us to have good perspectives in our minds about what is going on around us, even on the difficult days. So today I'm going to share with you a couple of tips when you think about how do you shift your mindset, right? And again, this is not an overnight process. It takes practice like anything. But one of the ways is really thinking about your self-talk, because a lot of times, and I've shared this on my Mental Health Moment before, but I want to share this again because it's extremely important. A lot of times we are telling ourselves about a story about different situations. And sometimes we could do what's called catastrophizing. And that's a psychology term where it's like it could be something that really in reality is small or not as significant as we make it out to be, but then we start catastrophizing and thinking of the worst possible scenario, like something that may never even happen, something that's very unlikely, right? We've heard before, like make a mountain out of a molehill type of thing. It's sort of like that, but we do it mentally. And it's scary and it's common. Like there's many of us, all of us that are guilty of doing that at some point. That's what anxiety does. It tells us we tell ourselves a different story when we're anxious. We tell ourselves a different story and kind of distort reality when we're sad or when we're angry and all these strong emotions come about, right? But instead, I want you to try a couple things that may be helpful to you. One of them is when you think about a situation, like let's say you're just going through a dark time, let's say you're going through just something that's very overwhelming, instead of telling yourself like this is just too much. I don't think I could deal with this. I don't think I can get through. I don't think I can handle this, right? All those types of thoughts. Try to start telling yourself things like I can handle this one step at a time. And when you really start to when you really start to break down the things that are happening in your life and just trying to have the mindset of taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. A lot of times what happens when it comes to anxiety is that there's so many things going on. Again, we either catastrophize the possibility of what can happen, or we think about the 12 different scenarios going on, the 12 different possibilities, the 12 different steps that we have to take, instead of, again, getting to a mindset where you say, okay, let me just take this one step at a time. I can handle this. I can get through this, right? Now, it doesn't there's no magical wand that can just, you know, make your emotional distress go away in an instant, right? We know that it takes time to heal from things. It takes time to get through things, but it's also a journey of what are the things you're telling yourself through the process, right? And I think I've shared this before on Mental Health Moment, but which I won't unpack all of it here on Mental Health Moment. But in 2024, well, 2020 was just a difficult year, I think, for a lot of us, right? There's the global pandemic, and there's just so many things that happen all at once. And it's extremely overwhelming. A lot of us, I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen next. It was like day to day, and you have all these things that happen, and it's really stressful. But there's also something that you were telling yourself during that time, right? That helped you to get through. Like here, if you're listening to this right now, you got through 2020, right? I know for me personally, 2024 was another really challenging year in a lot of ways, which I'll be writing about in a future book. So I won't unpack that all here, but nonetheless, what I did do throughout that year was just to also practice what I preach to you all, but is really keep in mind my mindset. And for me, also, it's my faith. But again, I'm not here to convert anybody to anything, what you believe or what you don't believe. It's all good. We all have different belief systems. But between faith and between mindset, that those were some of the things that helped to get me through, right? And making sure to remember what are the things that I'm telling myself during this time. I would constantly tell myself, like, this is temporary, this too shall pass. I can get through this. This is really, really hard, but this is not forever. Doesn't rain forever. Like those type of things to remind myself, like, we can, I can get on the other side of all these challenges, right? So it's again, it's important, and it's still hard, and you still can have emotional pain from what's happening to you, but it's a matter of being resilient. We talk about a lot about resilient mindset, right? On mental health moment. It's a lot about being resilient and it's a lot about what are you telling yourself. So another thing that I love, really love so much. I feel like I've seen it so often on Instagram lately, probably because of the algorithm, who knows? You like something and then all of a sudden you start seeing all the same type of content. But one of the things that I've seen often and I wanted to remind you all of also is reminding yourself when you it's not uncommon for you to get to a place where you're saying like, why is this happening to me? Or, how come I'm going through this hardship? Or why am I going through these challenges? Like it's not an uncommon thing. We're all human to ask ourselves that. But if you work on shifting your mindset to instead ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? So fill in the blank, whatever thing that you're going through right now. What is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this? Because I hope that you know that through adversity, you can also, it's hard. It's really hard. No one, well, I don't know of anyone that wishes for adversity, right? We don't wish for hard times. However, the positive of it is that we can, if we allow ourselves, grow through that time and become stronger from it and recognize what is it trying to teach you. So for you, whatever it is that you have going on right now, you don't even have to put it in the chat, but you can think to yourself, right? Like, what is this situation trying to teach you? How can you be a better person as a result of that? How can you get through? How can you know that these challenges you can get through them? Right? Like those type of questions to be asking yourself. So that's a second way that you can think of really asking yourself these type of questions because we ask ourselves all sorts of questions, right? Some of them are not so great. And for all of us on the planet, we have negative thoughts and we have negative things going through our head and we have self-blame and we have self-doubt and all these things, but in addition to that, if you also say, okay, let me think about how am I really getting through this and what is this trying to teach me? How can I be better? Right? Like those type of questions. And then the last thing I'll share with you today, as I'm wrapping up here on today's mental health moment, is that it's easy also to get into a state of again, what I talk a lot about on mental health moment about self blame. It's an easy thing to slip into that or self doubt. But instead of saying things like I'm failing or I'm a failure, which is such a negative thing to say to yourself, remind yourself too that shift your thinking and your mindset to say, no, I'm learning and I'm growing. Right. And I remember when like there's many things in life actually that I I had just a place of blame, like, "Why would I do that? And why would I how come I didn't know?" Like, just all those sorts of things, which again, just come from negative self-talk, and then over time, that was something I developed in my mindset as well, is to be like, No, I didn't know what I didn't know back then, so maybe that's why I made those decisions, but I'm learning, I'm growing, I know different things now, I can make different decisions now, right? So, sometimes we have to remind ourselves, it's not that we're failing. It's not that we're a failure, but what you know now is probably different than 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right? You are learning and you're growing. And the more you learn and the more you grow as a person, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to make different decisions, I should say. Hopefully better decisions, but you're definitely going to make different decisions as you have more knowledge, as you learn more about yourself, as you grow into a better version of who you are, you make different decisions, right? So I want you to really think about how do you implement these three type of mindset shifts, if you will, into your life? Because these are just three examples. There's many different. There's like a gazillion different ways that you can have mindset shifts, but I wanted to share these three with you today because it takes practice, like I said, and it sometimes it's just very concrete and it's just a little twist, like a little shift that you have to make, a little tweak that you have to make. Because we always think about these huge grand things that we have to change with our mindset, which is great, but it's the little things sometimes that you change. I'm a huge advocate of that. It's just the little things like, oh wow, I caught myself saying these type of things that I'm a failure, that I'm feeling, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not smart enough, that I'm not thin enough, that I'm not, short enough, tall enough, whatever enough, right? You catch yourself in those types of statements, and then you work on shifting those type of thoughts, right? To thoughts that are filled with self-compassion. You're allowed to have that, and understanding that over time you can work through even the difficult times. You can work on having more resilience. You can work on getting through those times. The time's going to pass, right? It's a matter of, what did you do during that time period of whatever difficult season in your life? Were you beating yourself up the whole time mentally? Or were you telling yourself, you know what, I can get through this. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be okay. I can handle this, right? Like, what did you do during that time, right? So those are my tips for you today. I hope that you start to implement those type of things into your wellness toolkit, if you will. And next month, actually, I'll announce it soon. I have some goodies for you all, and some, I think, fun things for next month, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is crazy that we're already back to like almost May, which is crazy to me. But I'll share that. I'll share that soon with you. Some things for that month. But again, thinking about today, again, remembering these mindset shifts, starting to practice them, starting to put them into place, because you really, really, really do have an opportunity to live an emotionally healthier life, a happier life, a life where you have more contentment, more joy. You're allowed to have those things. You're allowed to thrive. You're allowed to be emotionally healthy. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to be proud of yourself. You're allowed to have all of that. You don't have to be in a mental prison, if you will, and just berate yourself and have the negative self-talk, and just, have all this shame and guilt and all these strong feelings that are difficult. You are allowed to thrive. So I hope you practice those 3 mindset shifts this week, and I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have an amazing week. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.